Welcome back to Cosmoholics Anonymous. I am your favorite mother of three, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is about my daughter. Okay, I have a 4-year-old. She's in school. It is her first year in school. She's in junior kindergarten, and I love that for her. Her school year started out a little rough, you know. I've talked about it on my channel already where she was having an ongoing incident with another student where the student kept biting her, and like to the point where I had to be in contact with the school and pretty much demanding that they remove the student that had been biting my daughter and put her in a different class because it wasn't a one-time incident. It happened 6 times and there was no room for a 7th time. So I had already been in communication with the school, and like I didn't think that was fun for anybody. I don't think it was, you know, fun for me to have to talk to the school and tell them, you know, this can't happen. I don't think that it's fair that my child's getting bitten. I don't think it's fair that the little girl should be moved. There's a lot of different parts there, but at the end of the day, safety first. So whether or not my child and that child were friends or not was irrelevant. They liked each other, they wanted to play together, but anytime there'd be a disagreement, she would get bitten. So I had communications with the school, yada, yada, yada. That was the first, second, and third week of my child being in kindergarten, and I promise I never anticipated that that would be the case. Now, things mellowed, and there were no more incidents. So that is what brings me here today, because I want a mother's take on this situation. So on Thursday, it rained. Because school ain't how it was back in our day, when it rains, they still do recess outside. So they tell you, send your kid dressed properly. Make sure they're warm. Make sure they have their rain gear if it's raining. And, you know, whatever outfits they need to go and splash and play in the rain and do all that. Because no matter what the weather is, they're going outside. Back in my day, if it rained, girl, we was having indoor recess, and we loved indoor recess because half the time we didn't want to go outside. But they don't do that anymore, at least not at my child's school. So when it rains, I send her in her rain stuff. Now, the next day, it was sunny, no rain, so I didn't send her rain stuff. However, there were still puddles outside. Because she's in kindergarten, at the beginning of the year, they tell you to send spare stuff for them. So if they have accidents, my daughter does not, but send spare stuff for them. Socks, underwear, pants, shirt, whatever. You send spare stuff. So I had sent spare stuff. Early on in her school year, she had an accident with some sauce. She was having a dip with her carrots and her cucumber, and the dip got all over her overalls. So she did end up having to change at school that day. So she had already kind of used some of her replacement clothes. I replenished them. Cool. Fast forward to last Thursday. It rained. She came home. Everything was fine. Friday, she goes to school. Does not have any rain gear because it didn't call for rain that day. So I didn't send her rain outfit, her raincoat, her rain boots, nothing. For whatever reason, the teacher that she was with that week allowed my child to play in the muddiest of muddy puddles. When I went to pick my child up on Friday, the teacher was handing me a bag with Salem's boots in it and also her toy that she brought to school. She brought like a stuffy kitten, which is normal. She always brings something. All the kids always bring something to school. So on this day in particular, when I pick her up, I usually always have a small talk with her teachers. Like when I pick her up, they always just give me a progress report for the day, you know? Or sometimes it's just, hey, here's your kid, see you later, you know? But most of the times I have a small talk with the teacher. Keep in mind, my child was bitten multiple times, so the school knows who I am because I have tried to advocate for my child. Like I said, we communicate when I pick up my kid to bring her home. So when I'm talking to the teacher this day, she's giving me the small talk that we normally have, and she's telling me that, she was telling me pretty much that Salem was playing in a puddle, because when I saw Salem approaching the fence, I saw that she was not dressed how I had dressed her this morning. She was wearing yellow tights when I had dressed her in pink Adidas track pants, and underneath her track pants, she had on pink tights. So when I saw her in yellow tights, I'm like, oh, I said to Belle, I said, oh, your sister must have had an accident. I thought she peed herself, which was strange in itself because she doesn't pee herself. So when I get to talking to the teacher's telling me that Salem, that they were, matter of fact, not even that just Salem, but they were having real fun in exploring this puddle and yada, 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 yada. She was saying it was great and all these things. Literally, she's like saying it was so funny. Like, so I'm not thinking anything of it. She's then saying, and then the cat. Like, she talks about Salem stuffed animal. She's like, and the cat. And it was fun and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm actually getting an email from them right now. So pretty much, I guess she was trying to prepare me for what I was gonna see. However, what she said to me could never have prepared me for what I saw, okay? So I take the bag with Salem's soiled boots in it. Keep in mind, Salem has had these Uggs for 2 years almost. We bought them bigger and they were in mint condition. And this was the first time she wore them. And the reason I put them on her this day in particular was because she keeps growing like a damn weed and her Adidas were a little short. You know, they're giving a little bit of flood action. So I'm like, let me just combat this with the boot. Just, fix the problem with an easy fix. Ma'am. So I send her to school in that. The lady has this conversation with me. She sends me on my merry way with my child and I'm not thinking anything of it. I get home, we wash up, do our regular routine, and then I go to unbag Salem's backpack and also the bag of stuff that I was handed. And to my freaking surprise, my child's clothing was covered in mud. Not only was it covered in mud, her Uggs were completely destroyed. They're covered in mud, sand, and just soaking wet. I'm like, I cannot believe my eyes. I was like, was she rolling around? Is she a pig? Like, how could she be this dirty? The extra clothing that you send to school is for accidents and emergencies. It's for if they pee themselves. It's for if they spill food on themselves and they're uncomfortable and then they want to change. Not for my child to decide that she's going to jump around and roll around in the freaking mud and completely destroy her clothes. That's why you send the splash clothes so they can jump around. But because it wasn't raining, I didn't send the stuff. So why she was allowed to do that was beyond me. And furthermore, if my child did it and she did it after she was told not to, that's completely different. But when the teacher had told me about it, she didn't say, we told Salem not to jump in the muddy puddle and she decided she was going to do it anyway and this is what happened. That's a completely different story. This lady sat there and told me that she was pretty much there while it was happening and allowed it to happen and they were doing it together. So that's why I was a little gagged when I opened the bag and saw this. I was in complete shock because I did not send my child to school to be this dirty. And so when it happened, I sent an email because I was shocked. And I'll detail you the email in a second, but I just received an email back. But I also had contacted my best friend. She has a senior kindergarten student, or child. Her child is in senior kindergarten, so she's already done her first year. This is her second year in school now. And she was shocked too. I said to her, the first thing I said to her before I even sent her the picture was, hey, how dirty has your child ever come home from school? And she couldn't really think of like an answer. She was like, not really dirty. I was like, has she ever come home covered in mud? Like blah, blah, blah. Or like how they sent her clothes home because she was playing in a muddy puddle or anything like that. She's like, no, never. So that's obviously just one mom. But that's why I'm making this video, because I want to know if you guys have ever experienced this before. Because from what I saw, it felt like, and from what the teacher had said to me when I picked Salem up, it felt like they were just negligent. Like they just don't care if the kids are going to get dirty or not. And maybe they shouldn't care. Like, I don't know what the protocol is. I really don't freaking know. That's why I'm asking other moms, like, what do you think is acceptable? Because I thought this was unacceptable. So am I wrong? Because I don't know. Like, but me and my mom were both like, what the hell? Like, we were just stunned. Like, it was not raining. You don't allow the kids to jump around in a muddy puddle, right? Anyway, the email I sent said, hi, teacher's name. I was just able to open the bags of Salem's dirty clothes, and even though you explained to me she was jumping in muddy puddles, I think the way you expressed it made it seem not as bad as it actually was. Since it wasn't a rainy day, I didn't send her splash clothes. I don't think it was acceptable for her to be that dirty. She's had these Uggs for 2 years now. They were in mint condition but are now completely destroyed. I anticipated her stuffed toy would have some dirt on it because I didn't actually think it was mud that she was jumping in. I thought it was just water. I thought that her clothes got wet. I didn't know that they got muddy when she was talking to me at the school. That's pretty much why I was shocked when I opened the bag. I thought it was just water. Anyway, I anticipated her stuffed toy would have some dirt on it the way you explained it to me, but I was truly baffled when I opened the bag. Aside from that, Salem said that the teacher's aide assisted her to get dressed. Why was she allowed to help Salem in the bathroom to get dressed, but we as parents were instructed to ensure our children could open their own lunch containers? No one is to help Salem change her underwear or her clothing. She has dressed herself since she was 18 months. We don't assist her to get dressed at home other than occasionally tying her shoelaces. So this was actually one of my bigger issues because Salem was changed from head to toe. It wasn't just like she changed her pants. Like, no, like everything got taken off of her. My child was naked in the bathroom at school, and I was like, not okay with this, especially because Salem told me that the teacher's aide helped her get dressed. If they sent out a letter to the parents that said, hey, please ensure that your kid knows how to open the containers, practice opening containers with them for lunch, pretty much because the teachers do not want to interact with the students if they don't have to. They don't want to touch them. Why is somebody helping my child get dressed in the bathroom? That was one of my bigger issues. And yeah, I haven't helped Salem get dressed literally since she was 18 months. She would dress herself. I don't help her put her clothes on, nothing. If she comes to me and says she needs help tying her shoes, we do it. But I recently purchased those curly shoelaces that we used to have back in the 90s so that I didn't have to tie her shoelaces for her. And so she didn't have to tie them either. And they just stayed securely on her feet. So like, she doesn't require any assistance to get dressed ever, okay? Like, she picks her clothes, she picks her pajamas, she gets dressed on her own. She doesn't put her clothes on backwards, inside out. Like, she's never needed help. Anyway, in the future, please don't allow her to play in the mud if she doesn't have the proper attire for it. We let her know as well she isn't to come home like that again, and also that no one is to help her get dressed. And then this is when I pretty much let the teacher know, like, you have to set boundaries with this child. I said, Salem knew better than to be rolling around in the mud, but she is the type of kid that will do something if she feels the adult around her won't correct her. She will push the envelope as much as she can, so it's really important that she's told no when necessary. Thank you kindly and enjoy your weekend. And I signed my name. I attached the pictures of the clothing, and it was me, and I CC'd the vice principal on the email, right? Because I don't want it to just be between myself and her teacher. So, and I sent a video of the clothes. So she emails me back right now, and she said, thank you for your email and sharing your concerns regarding Salem's choices during recess and the effect they had on her belongings. Why is she spinning it and saying that it's Say's choices now?
I don't like that.
She literally told me that she was there when it was happening and it was fun. That's how she described it to me. Prior to recess, we discussed the weather we see when we look through the class window. Educators identified that it may look sunny and warm, but reminded everyone of the rain the previous day, and it was possible that the ground and play structure may still be wet. Educators suggested students dress accordingly and role modeled by wearing sweater, jacket, splash pants, and boots. In addition, educators recommend that personnel items from home should be left in backpacks as they may become dirty, broken, or lost if brought outside. I really didn't care about her stuffed toy. Like, I threw it out. Like, I literally threw out all the clothes. I threw out the clothing, I threw out her Uggs, I threw out the stuffed toy. I didn't know that she couldn't have it at school or that it's supposed to stay in the backpack, but I'm not there. And if I had known that, I would tell her, like, she tried to bring other stuff to school. Like, she tried to bring this unicorn she has, but it's interactive and it makes noise and stuff. I said, you can't bring that to school. That was today. I was like, you can't bring that to school. And originally, she wasn't bringing any toys to school, but I think when she saw that other kids had their stuffed toys, she started bringing them. So I just let her. I didn't know it was an issue because I wasn't sending her with them at first, but you know, so now she can't go with anything. But she said, once outside, educators provided a variety of activities and equipment to engage students. A few puddles were observed at one side of the kindergarten yard. Educators were positioned close by to give verbal reminders to those students who chose to explore the puddles that they may become wet and or dirty. Upon returning to the class, assistance was offered by educators to those students that needed to change articles of clothing. In instances where students were having difficulty removing wet items, while educators are first to offer verbal assistance and second to offer hands-on assistance while wearing gloves with another educator present. We apologize for any misunderstanding and or miscommunication with respect to the steps of support our educators provided. Salem, please let us know if you have any further questions or concerns. And she signed her name. See, the email is great, but when we spoke in person, that's not what was relayed to me. And so I feel like I don't even know what to say. I am gagged again, okay? They are gagging me. She's gagging me right now. Is she serious? She explained it to me completely different in person. And now is sitting here and telling me in the most professional way possible that's too bad. Like, I don't get it. Well, now that you've heard both sides and both, like, this is what I don't want to use the term gaslight because I feel like everything cannot be that. I don't want to use that term, but that's how I feel in this moment because in person, she explained it to me. She said it to me. She used the terms we. She used fun. She used the word fun. She explained it to me in a very lighthearted way that to the point where when I opened the bag of clothing and damages that I saw, I was shocked.
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason? What was the reason?
I just explained the reason.
What was the reason?
If she was real with me when I got there and was like, your child was jumping in puddles today and they were muddy and her clothes are destroyed, I'm sorry, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's completely different. I wouldn't have been shocked when I got home, but I was actually shocked when I got home. So that's why I'm a little gagged right now at the email response. I wasn't even really anticipating a response because at the end of my email, it was very clear. Like, I was just saying she needs structure. That's it. I just need her to and from what I just read, and if you heard structure will be there, let me know, but I didn't hear that just now. I'm not reading that. I'm not hearing that. I'm not feeling that in the email. I am gagged at her response to me. And to be honest, like I said, like I wasn't really anticipating a response where I don't need an explanation. I stated my concerns and I'm just saying my kid, if she doesn't feel like there's authority around to correct her, she will do whatever she wants to do. That's who she is. That's what she does. And I need there to be a good team behind her when she's not inside the home to guide her. Otherwise, it's like, what is the point? You know? Because if we are one way at home and then she goes to school and they're a completely different way, which it's funny because she has two different teachers, right? And she alternates between them each week. And so I find that the other teacher is very, very straight and narrow, and this teacher is a lot more lenient. So the other teacher, not a lot of stuff happens on her watch.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
She's mom-like in a way, and she is a mom. She said I think she has 2 daughters actually. But there's something about her that she's no nonsense and she will give that structure, whereas this teacher doesn't seem to have that same vibe, right? Like one day, Say was being difficult when I went to pick her up and she didn't want to come and she was just standing there and she wasn't with the stricter teacher that week. And so the stricter teacher whispers to me and she's like, I'm gonna be a bit of a dragon lady right now. She wasn't, but she like had Salem come. Whereas it was a supply there that week, but it was also very lenient. You know how supplies get down. So supplies when I was in school always got run over. But like the supply was trying to get Salem to move and she couldn't get Salem to move. And as a parent, I wasn't allowed on the other side of the fence, so I couldn't get her to move either. So this teacher had to step in and do what she does, which let me know, you know, she got it going on. And so that's the kind of structure she needs all the time. She really does need that. And the teacher had told me that they were actively playing in the puddles together. I don't know. I don't know why she's telling me all these other things. I don't care.
I don't want to hear all that.
Like, what I care about is that when I send my kid to school, if she doesn't have those splash clothing, then she shouldn't be jumping in the puddles, you know? I think for me in the future, if it rains, and like today it's raining, obviously tomorrow's gonna be wet again, I'm just gonna like send her splash clothes for 3 days straight to make sure that she does not come home dirty, because that was crazy. Like, it was way too much mud, you know? And the response from her teacher lets me know that there is a chance it can happen again. So I'm just gonna have to do my part as a mom and, you know, but what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Because what the hell? Like, her email gagged me. Like, I literally want to respond to it and be like, this email gagged me, because she told me in person. She told me in person what happened and how lighthearted it was. She didn't say it the way that she's saying it in this email right here. So maybe it was a miscommunication. I don't know, but child, Uggs ain't no $20 shoe. Okay, they ain't no $20 shoe. And I think I was more gagged that this was the first time I sent her to school in the damn Uggs.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
And she came home with them obliterated. Like, I'm gagged. Anyway, you guys, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Tell me if you feel like they do need structure, or if I need to do more as a mom, or like, what do you guys think? Like, and I want to hear from the moms. And you know what? Even if you're not a mom, or if you're a dad, I want to hear from you what you think. And if you've had a similar situation where your kid just went to school and came home in completely different clothes, and the explanation as to why and how you felt as a parent. Like, this is my first experience with my child in school, and you know, I'm trying to handle it the best way I can. But like, I think a part of my frustration too is the fact that, one, it seems like something's always happening on this lady's watch, but two, when she has been bitten, there was no resolve there. And the other day, like, I don't know if the little girl is in her class or not, because the other day when Stacey came home, matter of fact, the mud day, she told me that the little girl that's been biting her was one of the little girls that had to change their clothes as well. So I don't know. So this is the last email that I sent. It says, thanks for getting back to me. I really just want Salem to have the structure and consistency that she has at home, at school. Sorry if this is a bother. She is my first school-aged child. We always try to correct her or try to prevent her from getting herself in trouble if we can help it. We tried to gently explain to her cause and effect. I don't think I would have been shocked if it were explained in person the way it was explained in this email. I actually thought it was just dirty water, but not necessarily mud, since you had stated her things were wet when you explained it so lightheartedly when I had picked her up. The way you expressed it to me sounded like she was allowed to do whatever she felt like, since you used the phrase, "we had fun." A miscommunication, but going forward, I'll do my part and ensure she has her splash clothes every day. Obviously, this is very passive aggressive, but I think my point was made, and I obviously have to step my cookie up and send her splash clothes every day, because they don't care if she's muddy or not, because it's not them that has to do her laundry. Like, what in the world? Especially because I felt like the email that she had sent me was so condescending, underlying but condescending. I don't know. But yeah, I love you all so much, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.